Hong Kong's housing crisis, exclusive neighborhoods versus subdivided apartments. There's no place in the world quite like Hong Kong. However, that statement isn't purely positive. The region's powerful free market economy and low tax rates have made it a playground for some of the world's wealthiest people. To meet the demand of Hong Kong's wealthy influx of citizens, exclusive and outrageously expensive property developments have sprung up all over the region. What once were tiny villages are now vibrant modern suburban paradises. But that's just half the story. Not everyone can afford to call one of these communities home. Hong Kong's income gap has widened dramatically in recent years, with the affluent enjoying lifestyles worlds apart from those less fortunate. The middle and lower classes, on the other hand, can only afford properties considered slums by most modern society standards. Entire families are stuffed into tiny apartments within apartments, while mansions in the suburban districts can lay empty for months at a time during their owners' vacations. This dichotomy of wealth and poverty, side by side yet worlds apart, paint a bleak picture of Hong Kong's complex housing situation. Take the Peak, for instance. Perched atop Hong Kong Island, the Peak offers its residents an elevated status and a raised vantage point. The area's panoramic views encompass the bustling city below and the serene harbor beyond. In colonial times, British soldiers preferred the cool breeze from the altitude. Back then, the Peak was completely off-limits to locals, despite the area being mostly comprised of Chinese citizens. Today, a different kind of hurdle stands in the way of ordinary people, a financial one. This neighborhood remains economically out of the reach of most Hong Kong citizens. Like the colonial British before them, bankers, celebrities, and billionaires rule here, from atop their majestic mountain. Here, a 245 square meter home might list for 101 million Hong Kong dollars, around 13 million US dollars. Listings for family rentals reach as high as 329,000 Hong Kong dollars or 42,000 US dollars per month. There is no hope of this kind of living arrangement for people in the working or middle classes. Taxes are low for Hong Kong citizens, but when earnings are minimal, paying less tax only benefits the rich. The lower income tax revenue also means that the government has to recoup its losses from elsewhere, filled by levies taken out of the housing market. Those who can afford multi-million-dollar mansions can afford to pay a higher stamp duty and property taxes, but those at the bottom of the ladder simply cannot. This pushes the less fortunate into the rental market, one of the most expensive in the world. Due to socio-political reasons, rental rates have decreased in recent years, but that does little to make them affordable for those stuck in prison cell-like subdivided units. The subdivided units, characterized by tiny and cramped living spaces, represent a distressing reality for the economically disadvantaged. Typically, these spaces are created by partitioning larger apartments into multiple smaller living spaces, often resulting in poor living conditions and a lack of basic amenities like private kitchen or bathroom spaces. As of 2021, there was approximately 108,200 subdivided flats across Hong Kong, with an average size of a mere 118 square feet. This indicates the living conditions of a significant portion of the city's population. A third or more of their monthly income is spent solely on covering housing expenses. But it isn't just about a lack of housing. It's about the widespread gentrification of Hong Kong's historically working-class communities and the displacement of those who call these places home. Repulse Bay and Water Bay neighborhoods are possibly the best examples of this crisis. They were once sparsely populated areas known for fishing. The neighborhoods were a refuge for lower and middle-class citizens, many of whom lived in humble housing and made a modest living. When developers bought the property, values skyrocketed, forcing many of these families to relocate. 2023 census data indicates that Repulse Bay has a total of 3,535 private residential units and a population of approximately 17,000 people. Here, rental prices can reach as high as 117 Hong Kong dollars per month. This is 3 times above the median income for Hong Kong, which averages at about 36,000 Hong Kong dollars per month. This gentrification of districts across Hong Kong has sparked concerns over the displacement of poorer residents from neighborhoods undergoing redevelopment and renewal. Entire fishing communities have been pushed out of coastal locations in favor of these resort-like exclusive developments. Policies are required to safeguard affordable housing options for all levels of society, and support should be provided for people at risk of displacement. Another key factor is migration. The region has long attracted those from foreign lands, not only permanent but also temporary, due to its position as a global center for business and finance. In recent years, for instance, there has been a significant surge in the number of wealthy mainland Chinese buyers purchasing property in Hong Kong. This has significantly escalated the demand of the market, further increasing the already extortionate housing prices and driving competition. The mainland doesn't offer the tax breaks Hong Kong does, so wealthy mainlanders are happy to live in Hong Kong for the 183 days of the year. This has widened the gap in income inequality. While the direct impact on local wages are not significant, the heightened pressure on the housing market has created additional obstacles for lower-income residents who find themselves increasingly marginalized and priced out of their own neighborhoods. This underscores the urgent need for real solutions. The government needs to address Hong Kong's housing crisis. Beyond providing shelter, efforts must ensure safe, adequate, and affordable housing for all residents. The current plan hinges on the development of more affordable housing. The development of several artificial islands among the natural islands between Lantau and Hong Kong Island is being considered at a potential cost in the billions. Worryingly, this does little to solve the housing crisis. By constructing more housing, the root cause of the problem is completely ignored. The government is merely moving those stuck in a cycle of poverty rather than lifting them out of it. The real solution is to find a way of redistributing the wealth of the Legatum Prosperity Index, which ranks at the 22nd wealthiest economy on the planet. The working and middle classes need a ladder to climb. The term affordable housing is redefined as housing they can afford to buy rather than tiny single rooms they can rent. Failure to address this issue will only increase inequality and compromise the well-being and dignity of society's most vulnerable. Hong Kong is one of the most expensive places on the planet to buy property. At first glance, this may seem like a positive for the economy and population, hinting that its citizens can afford to pay extreme property prices in neighborhoods like Repulse Bay. However, that's a misleading assumption. Beneath the surface, the region's challenges are plain to see. The issue of income inequality, with a significant portion of the population now living below the poverty line, cannot be hidden behind the development of these luxury homes and gated communities. Apartments owned by part-time residents sit empty, while entire families are crammed into little rooms smaller than typical parking spaces. The government's response to the housing crisis has been lackluster, with lengthy wait lists of up to 6 years for public housing, a shortage of permanently affordable homes, and grand rescue plans that would offer no real solution to the root cause of the problem. If a true solution to the problem isn't found, and fast, Hong Kong's reputation as a global hub of social and economic growth is on the line. In the shadow of Hong Kong's soaring skyscrapers and luxurious enclaves, the city's housing crisis remains a crucial litmus test for the sustainability of its prosperity, demanding innovative and equitable solutions to bridge the widening chasm between opulence and hardship.